I am attempting to complete all 5 State of Decay 2 maps in Lethal Zone with one single character. Previously we defeated the Blood Plague in Mega Valley, but unfortunately our hero Jay Wick didn't find his lost brother. So this week we head to Providence Ridge, and if you think the last episode seemed too easy, shit is about to go off the rails.
Kidding me? I'm fucking infected again!
We start in the starter base with a fresh new set of clothes, but unfortunately it seems our car has been pinched by a bunch of youths. Luckily I can find a replacement over the radio, then decide to go and help some new folks in town. Obviously I'm also new, but this could be the start of a loving trade relationship between apocalyptic strangers. Oh no, they're rude as fuck and accuse me of hogging all of the supplies. Not technically incorrect, I did bring a lot with me from Mega Valley, but finders keepers, maybe next time you should be a bit more polite, you bastards. Continuing my good deeds, I head to a nearby Army and Navy store to meet a stranger who's looking for painkillers. But with a name like Tori, there's no way in hell I'm helping out who let children starve. Fuck off and tell that twat Rishi to start packing his bags. Next up, it's time to crack on with the Blood Plague, and our first of 30 is only around the corner from home. But at this point, Mr. Wick is a seasoned warrior who's already cleared an entire town. This is gonna be a cakewalk. Except I almost instantly get bit. Oh shit in hell. Taking my infection meter to just over half. Time to tactically bitch it and run away scared. However, I can also hear the war cry of a blood feral ringing through my ears.
Let's deal with the feral. Jesus Christ.
I deal with him pretty simply because it's kind of what I do, then complete the first phase of the plague heart. And I may also have slightly accidentally set myself on fire during my escape. But at that point, guess what? Another blood feral decides to join the party. And I obviously do my bit to cull the local population. I then complete the second phase of the plague heart before, you guessed it, another bloody crackhead. Honestly, I think I may have faced more on this single plague heart than I did in the entirety of Mega Valley. But it seems I've ridden my luck for too long, as I miss my next shot and the beast tackles me to the ground and throws me about from my throat.
Yep, we're infected on the first heart.
Definitely not a good start, as I only used 2 cures in the entirety of the Mega run. Not only does this put the entire challenge in jeopardy, but we may not even make it out of Providence. Anyway, once I'm healed, I take down the plague heart and collect all of its loot. I think I'm going to need as many of those medical supplies as possible. And the funny thing is, I didn't even deal with the crackhead that caused me to get infected. But hey, I guess he's now just another hit and run statistic. I then realise I haven't even started any construction back at base yet, so it's time to get busy with a Red Talon workshop so I can craft mollies, a shooting range for the extra stamina it provides, and I also install the advanced biochem station on the infirmary for when I'm entirely out of hope. And with our crew of construction ghosts underway, we take off to fight our second plague heart. And I wish I could say this attempt went according to plan, but things don't get off to a great start when the room I'm in is overpopulated, so I set everything including myself on fire. Then once I've completed the first phase, I get stuck and accidentally gas myself. Then finally as I escape, I try to lob a frag, but the snap aim causes my aim to veer off to the right like I'm a massive incel. But hey, at least I'm able to take down another crackhead without getting infected. Sometimes you just gotta look on the positive side of things. The heart then goes down, which means I lost count somewhere along the way. I then make my way southbound towards Sawyer's crossing as some locals need my assistance. Hopefully they'll have some information about Wick's brother, but failing that, they might just be able to help fight the blood plague. When I get there, they're being bitch slapped by some raiders, but humans are barely an inconvenience for Wick. He just channels his inner demon and imagines the bastards have put hands on his dog. Like if someone put hands on my pup Mia, I'd flay the twats, then use their skin to manufacture a lovely new football for her to play with. I'd make an excellent father. Unfortunately, the local rangers are morons and have set up their base in plague territory, so my unsuppressed gunshots have attracted a fair bit of attention.
Oh, you bastard! Are you kidding me? I'm fucking infected again!
That's 2 cures I've had to use in less than half an hour. Certainly not the greatest of starts. I'm also not able to talk to Susie to complete the mission, as she's currently having her internal organs rearranged, but sadly for her, not in the good way. I'm also running around extremely heavy as I'm carrying the loot from the previous plague heart, which means I'm relying on amphetamines to keep my lungs going. Then as my frag goes off in the distance, I get tackled to the ground and almost become infected once again. We've really not got off to the best start, but I suppose that's the beauty of life. At any point you can draw a line in the spilt zombie guts and say everything in the past is the past. I'm here to conquer the present. I'm finally able to drop off the shit that's slowing me down, and once I've smacked enough twats with my shovel, it's time to have a chat to Susie, who's decided now's a great time to take a power nap. But whatever, she's given me a sack of food for my troubles. But to be honest, I'm more interested in what her enclave has for sale. A motherfucking signal antenna. I'm taking that off your hands as well as your molly supply, and once everything's loaded safely in the back of my pickup, I head a couple of doors down attempt to attack another placard. And seeing as there's only one Z in the building, it's back to the old stealthy approach. Well, as stealthy as you can get when you smack large sacks of meat with a heavy shovel. But at least we've completed a phase, and that molly should help cause more residual damage. But more importantly, I'm having to dodge more crackheads, and it seems they've teamed up with the Plague Zeds.
Oh shit in hell!
That's the third cure I'm gonna have to take already, providing I can escape the jaws of death. Thankfully, I'm able to clamber my way onto a nearby abandoned bus and sort myself out. And once the feral's been dealt with, it's not much longer before I can finish off the placard. But I decide against looting it as the crowds are too large, and anyway, it's time to head back to base. Literally just so I can drop off all my shit, then start the installation of the signal antenna. Once that's installed, the number of outposts I'll be able to claim will increase from 3 to 4. But before we can crack on any further, I realise there's someone in my base. And that's proper rude. You can't just go and let yourself into other people's safe spaces, especially as this is a solo survivor run. She's been separated from her mates and is asking for my help to get back home. I can't bring myself to explain to her that her home is now infested by the undead, so just agreed to take her home if she'll help me with a placard. A stranger danger, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you to sit in the back. Sylvia, the deal is, if you can survive me taking down this placard, I will get you home. We arrive at the site and get to work. And when I say we, I mean me. Fuck knows where Sylvia is. At least one of us is working hard, like. Then while the heart is phasing, I do a lap around the house, and when I re-enter, I realise Sylvia is actually going toe-to-toe with a blood feral. What a girl! I can't believe I was so negative about her. She then sadly succumbs to her injuries. Meanwhile, I'm stood very still in the corner waiting for the gas to fuck off so I can take down the final phase. But I've got to do so either very quickly or quietly, as I don't want to mess with a blood feral in these close quarters. Fast and reckless certainly sounds more like me. Fearing the crackhead, I decide against looting, but it turns out he was just pretending he was on fire. Such a cruel prank to play on a pyromaniac, especially as I then get immediately infected for God knows how many times. If I see the word skill issue anywhere near that comment section, I'm gonna be furious. This is quite clearly an orchestrated attack on me by Big Apocalypse. They don't want me succeeding in taking down the 5 maps with one character. This is simply unacceptable. So it's time to prove my might, not just to them, but to you all at home as well. It's time to take back Sawyer's Crossing from the Blood Plague, starting with me climbing a tall structure. It had been a while and I was starting to suffer from withdrawal symptoms. After a quick scout about, I find 6 play carts in the vicinity, so it's time to get to work, starting with a fast food joint across the road. Look at me referring to a place as a joint. Christ, if I get any more Americanized, I'll be singing Yankee Doodle Doo while I spit shine my AR-15. Speaking of my trusty AR-15, I used the son of a bitch to remove another crackhead from the existence before finishing off the playcat. And with that hate crime out of the way, I decide I need an outpost down here to help clear the town. And with my eyes on this petrol station, I move towards Big Daddy's auto shop. But this playcart was barely an inconvenience, providing you ignore all of the inconvenience, of course. Anyway, with the heart down, not only do I collect some decent loot from the rotting husk, but I also get a toolkit from Big Daddy himself. But unfortunately, I still have to take down one more playcart before I can claim the petrol station, which is exactly what I do in the house with a big porch. And I didn't even get infected. Your boy's on a roll. So with that petrol station finally free from the grips of the blood plague, I turn it into an outpost, set landmines, and even upgrade it to level 2. So now I have a way of depositing rucksacks without heading back to base. And with that safe space acquired, I'm forced to swap primary weapons for the first time, as I've drained all of my 5.56 ammo. So now I'm onto a 30 round AK, rocking the 7.62 rounds. I claim the first phase of my next heart with my shovel, then drop a molly as I escape. The second phase comes and goes nice and easily, and once I've stretched my legs around the block, I show off why Wick has the toughest palms in Providence Ridge. You wouldn't want to get a hand job off him, that's for sure. But as there's a Juggernaut right next to my car, I don't want the beast turning it into scrap metal, so I make my way to the next playcart on foot. Slightly risky considering my health situation. The heart is in a house and I start by clearing the area of zombies, which gives me free reign to complete the first phase, set it on fire, and blow a substantial load into its face. But then I gotta dodge a feral attack. But once he's outside, 3 headshots deals with a foul beast, and one more powerful shovel swing ends the playcard. I can then get back to my card as the Juggernaut has wandered off slightly, and I can make our way to the final playcard in Sawyer's Crossing. But I'm gonna have to be very careful with how I handle my partial infection. Or to make it easier, I can just get smacked before completing the first phase and take another bloody plague cure. But seeing as no ferals have joined the fun yet, I can complete the first phase, then set everything on fire. But for once, not myself. And with the local crackheads on their union allocated lunch break, it's not too much longer until we can finish off the job. Again, the toughest palms in Providence. Then seeing as we're losing 2 meds a day with the infirmary, and I'm popping plague cures like they're Tic Tacs, I decide I need an upgraded medical outpost to offset the loss. And this pharmacy in Sawyer's Crossing will do just fine. Once I've eliminated the current inhabitants, of course. Look at me, gentrifying for a good cause. I then upgrade the outpost to level 2, and once the pharmacy has been looted, I turn my attention to the 2 plague carts we took down earlier. More loot for the supply locker, or perhaps I'm just a massive hoarder. I'll let you guys decide that in the comment section. I then spot another plague cart in a warehouse just outside of town. I start by smacking it, then burning its friends. Then with them crispier than the McChicken sandwich, I can complete the phase, set it on fire, and finish the job off with my pistol. But now it's time to leg it. Not just because we have a crackhead breathing down our necks, but also just the amount of the undead. Thankfully there's an army medical tent right next door, and I've already said I need meds, so I turn it into my second upgraded medical outpost. So providing I can minimise the amount of cures I'm popping, we should be able to actually earn a profit off of our medical supplies. Anyway, I get back to the car, and now it's time to turn our attention from plague art destruction to people skills, as Wick has kinda nominated himself as the sheriff of Providence Ridge. What can I say, it's obviously my fault for feeding the strays. Anyway, I speak to Leffer of the tenants, and she's like, someone murdered our mate and Stuart has fled the scene of the crime. Although that's the exact opposite of what I was taught in detective school. Everybody knows the baddie always returns to the scene of the crime. Anyway, as I'm in the area, I've got an old score to settle, as the newcomers we visited earlier have now turned hostile against me because I refused to feed their children or something. I'll be honest, I wasn't really listening. So I arrive at their front door and await an answer, then I go all Jesse Pinkman on his ass. And seeing as his mates just witnessed the worst instance of knock knock ginger I've ever seen, they've gotta go too. And you know how you can tell that shit was personal? I didn't even bother to loot their corpses. Anyway, back to capturing a disgusting murderer. Once I've headed home and sorted myself out with the infirmary, of course. I also pay a visit to the local army and navy store and turn that into an upgraded outpost. But now it's back to capturing a disgusting murderer. Although I do have to travel back to the other side of Sawyer's Crossing, basically using up enough fuel to give a vegan an aneurysm. I find the fiend chilling in a fruit stand, and she's like, I didn't kill anyone, if you come with me I'll be able to find some evidence to prove my innocence. And it's like, okay fine, it's not as if I'm trying to save the entire town from the zombie virus. I do find a pistol in a desk in a warehouse, and in Stuart's eyes this proves her innocence. Personally I'm not too sure how that proves anything, but yeah sure, I suppose I can travel back to the other side of the map. But on the way, disaster strikes.
Oh, you fucking kidding me? Where did he come from?
It seems these bastards are evolving and camouflaging themselves in bushes. And of all the things, it had to be a high toxicity bloater, didn't it? Good thing I'm packing pharmaceuticals like I'm Harold Shipman. Anyway, with me still alive, but once again approaching Blood Plague, I collect a supply drop from the bullet benefactor, then take Stuart back home. And weirdly, Leffer actually believes his story. Then in a shocking turn of events, their other member, Ty, reveals himself as the baddie. And even tries shanking me, the bastard. But as a bit of advice, AK-47 does trump serrated steel. Well, I'm sure we all learned a valuable lesson there. I'm not sure what it is, but that was definitely a teachable moment. I've also consumed our first coffee of the series, which I bought from the tenants. So once I've headed back to base and used the infirmary once again, we were in really good shape as we head off to attack more plague carts. So I make my way to South Hobson, and you guessed it, climb the water tower. And from the vantage point I spot 4 plague carts and 2 hostile enclaves. Christ's sake, why do I always make enemies even when I'm trying to be the sheriff? Before I leave, I find 2 toolkits, one in the utility shed, one under the water tower. Then I decide to take on the plague cart right next to the hostile enclave, in the hope they'll distract some of the hordes, and probably take damage, making them easier to deal with later. But how wrong could I be?
Oh shit, what the fuck? He's got a gas launcher!
As one of the bastards immediately defies the Geneva Convention and declares chemical warfare onto me.
Okay, he's also just gassed himself. The guy's a moron.
So I turn my attention to the plague cart next door and complete the first phase. But when a feral joins the party, it's time to maneuver him towards the hostiles. Although I needn't have bothered, as when I charge in, I get eye to eye with a dude in a red Talon outfit, and one headshot puts him to bed, then the rest of his team dissemble. Although they're still in the area to help distract the hordes that I've gathered, and with them acting as decoy, it's not too long till I can finish off the plague cart. And then it's time to scarper, but don't worry, I made sure to loot the gas launcher off the red Talon corpse. It may come in handy later in the challenge, we'll have to wait and see. The next heart is in a train station, and we start off with having to deal with another crackhead. I then claim the first phase and drop a pipe bomb, which should do a decent job of clearing the crowds in that tight and awkward room. I then make my way onto the train's flatbed, as we figured out in a previous livestream that zombies can't work out a way to get here. Very handy, especially as there's a Juggernaut Juggernaut nearby. So with the crowds gathered, I pick a spot and go for a run, straight towards the plague art where I complete the second phase. In fact, once I loop around the outside of the building, I can head back in and finish the job. But you know what they say, no rest for the wick, full stop, end of sentence. There's another plague art just around the corner, and things get off to a good start as I complete the first phase rather quickly, but being the greedy shit I am, I continue to beat it, which ends in me getting gassed. I then charge outside and completely fuck up a molly throw. Honestly, I have no idea how to even explain that one, but luckily I'm packing plenty, so can use one to dispatch the rest of the bloaters. And with that, it's not much longer before the plague art falls. I'm rewarded decently, although I do wonder why I keep grabbing all the material sacks. Then while trying to escape, I end up stamping out the face of a zombie, which gives a triple pack of blood ferals the chance to get me. Certainly not great for my longevity, but somehow I managed to escape the clutches of death and jab myself with a cure.
Okay, this is our first triple pack we faced on the foot, and I'm bitching it. I climb onto the car because I'm too heavy to be dealing with this shit.
So from the roof of the car, I deal with the crackheads, and it seems like someone can't count, as that's only 2, you bloody moron. But don't worry, the triple packs are certainly coming. My next stop is back at base, as I have an absolute shit ton to unload. Then on my way to take on more plague arts, I stop by a distress call to help out a stranger. Although I'd say his distress calls were a bit over-exaggerated, as there wasn't even a single zombie in the same building as him. But yeah, sure, whatever, I'll give you a lift home. And it's a good thing I'm a solo survivor, as they're set up in my preferred base for Providence Ridge. So on this occasion, I'll let you keep it. Now it's time for a bit of a speed run to knock down these sacks of shit, starting off at this retail park. Although we get off to a horrible start as I complete the first phase and set it on fire, before immediately walking straight into a high toxicity bloater. Certainly not great, but somehow I guess even worse.
That could have worked terrible. Oh my god!
I desperately fight myself free, but now I'm trapped between a bloater cloud and a feral. I see only one way out, and that's to burn it all to the ground. Then out in the open, I can face the crazed beast head on. A single shot stuns it, and I can finish it off with a knife to the face. But other than that, the plague art goes down dead easy. Okay, ignoring that, now the plague art can go down dead easy. Jesus fucking Christ. Slightly north, I discover the next heart in a house, but this one actually does go down with no issues. In fact, so does the next one I face in a warehouse. But at that point, it's on to the unfinished housing estate. And usually there's a couple around here, but on this occasion, it's just the one. And I complete the first phase just as a feral decides to join the fun. And after roly-polying away from his attack and popping a headshot twice, he'll take just one more shot to send the bastard to Hades himself.
Oh shit, no!
Honestly, I've lost count with how many cures I've used so far, and we've still got 13 plague arts remaining, and another 3 maps we gotta get through. If I don't start being more careful, I could very well run out of resources before we get to the finale. But that's a problem for the future. For now, I'm focused on removing the blood plague in Providence Ridge. That's the 18th heart taken care of, but now I need to head back home to unload our spoils of war. But then we've gotta head back to South Hobson, as we've gotta intervene with 2 dickheads squabbling. John from the Scattered Survivors is like, these dickheads are trying to steal my shit, while Stuart of the Tenants is like, I killed a single zombie and these pricks accuse me of stealing their goods. So like all good leaders do, I follow Solomon's judgment and cut a child in half. Wait, neither of them had a kid? Well, who the fuck did I just cut in half? Please scratch my earlier comments from the record. I side with Stuart, then make our way to attack our next plague art. But unfortunately, before I can complete the first phase, a crackhead rocks up. I can drop a molly to slow him down, but significant damage has already been done. 3 headshots takes him out, but those unsuppressed gunshots just attracts a friend. And this one takes significantly longer to deal with, as we're slightly unsynchronized. I roll too late to avoid his attack, but then I'm too close to get a kill. Once he's gone, I head back to the heart before realizing there are too many zombies, so I drop a molly and escape. But the escape is about as successful as my YouTube career, and now I'm once again a whisker for blood plague. But hey, at least I heard the heart complete the phase, which is handy, as when I head back in, a bloater pops in close proximity and I light it up to complete the heart's second phase. And then another feral rocks up, but this time I'm ready and waiting. Good night, you meffed up bitch. A couple of more hits then kills the plague heart, and then we can make our way to the next. It's in a little house, and I'm still carrying all the loot from the previous heart, which would be fine if a Juggernaut wasn't there waiting for me. We've also been lucky enough to get a broken heart curveball, but we'll get to that later. For now, I've got to lead a fat fuck far away from my car. Once I've led him to the main road, I spot a gap in the rocks and dash back to my car where I deposit the heavy stuff. But then with me being nice and light, it shouldn't be too difficult for me to take down the plague heart, except I usually go about things the hard way. With the heart phasing, I dip and try to burn it with a molly, except as I drop it, I get bit as everything bursts into flames and my health drops faster than if I was dating Diddy. Oh yeah, and I also got infected, but you probably could have worked that out by now. Not much Much longer later, the placard falls, and I head off without collecting any loot. Then it's time to take on the Broken Heart. A Broken Heart is much weaker than normal, it doesn't call to the undead for defense, and the zombies in the area are much more lethargic, which effectively makes this one a freebie. But seeing as we're right at the bottom of Providence, it only makes sense for our next move to take back Prescott, which starts off pretty well as I take down the heart on the edge of town with no issues, but it was close enough to the previous Broken Heart that I still had some of the lazy pricks loitering around. But this is where things start to get a bit ridiculous. I pull up next to a billboard to scout about, just as a horde with a Juggernaut and a Feral happened to be wandering past. Thankfully, I managed to drop off the building materials rucksack I collected from the previous playcart. However, I'm still carrying a spare AK-47, which means I'm too heavy to maintain my unlimited sprint. And I'm also trapped on top of this billboard with a Juggernaut and Feral beneath me. My car is also low on fuel, but even if it wasn't, it would be too risky to try and drive it away. I need a new plan. Firstly, I take out the Feral from the billboard, then I toss myself off the lower level, sacrificing a smidge of damage. I can then sprint towards the police station where there happens to be a placard, where I complete the first phase just as the horde start to catch me. I can then drop a frag, which does a good job of clearing those hordes, as I take the second phase of the placard and drop a fuel bomb, which definitely sort of might slightly set me on fire. Then with some of the worst timing imaginable,
Oh, triple pack! Oh, I'm not taking any fucking risks!
thankfully Butterfingers over here doesn't fall anymore, and rather wastefully takes out all three Ferals. And if it seems like I was rushing, I absolutely was. There was also a Juggernaut on the way.
We got these guys over here, they're neutrals. I'm just gonna lead all the zombies to them, they might be able to help.
But to be honest, help is very subjective. For example, I help myself to their toolkit, then sell them my empty AK. But before I head back to the playcart, I shoot the bell in the bell tower to distract the hordes. Surprisingly, this works exceptionally well, and I'm completely alone by the time I take out the heart. Also very happy to find a medikit, my health was looking a bit ropey. I can then make it back to my car, and once it's repaired and refueled, it's good to be back mobile. The next heart is in the mayor's house on the edge of town, and that goes down without an issue. Providing you ignore me getting infected, of course, but let's face it, at this point blood plague is like the common cold. I then turn my attention to an army and navy store, and that one actually does go down with no problems. I even turn it into an upgraded outpost with landmines after I've abandoned the petrol station I claimed earlier. Then I've got to head to the opposite edge of town to take on another heart, and thankfully it goes down without any issues. If you'd like to see things in more detail, I'll leave a link to the live streams in the description. Then with only 4 hearts remaining in Providence Ridge, we make our way to the final heart, that's in Prescott. Although before we start, I'm being chased by a crackhead, so 1 second, let me stick in reverse. Good night, you little prick.
Who's the hunter now, huh?
It's me, Mario. I'm able to get a couple of hits off before I hear another Feral.
Let's just hope it's just the one. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh no, it's now triple pack time. And I've had enough of virgins in the comment section doubting my abilities.
You shouldn't climb onto a car even if your stamina is completely empty.
Well, this one's for all the haters, spelt with a Z. Well, it's time to dip, dive, and dodge my way through these pricks and prove to everyone once and for all, I am the lethal zone god. One more roly-poly and a quick headshot ends the final Feral, and the next thing they'll say is I'm using an overpowered character and overly reliant on gunslinger. Christ, there's just no pleasing some people. Do you complain that Manchester City are over-reliant on a sport washing project to hide blood money? Of course not, because you've never met a Man City fan in real life. I forget the point I was trying to make, but anyway, that's our 27th playcart taken care of. With 3 playcarts remaining, I've now got to go and sort out another dispute between 2 enclaves. John is complaining Stuart keeps pulling her gun on him whenever he walks past, and Stuart's response is the bastard keeps drawing zombies to her front door, so fair enough, get fucked, John. Honestly, this sheriff shit is fucking easy. I don't know why the police are always complaining how hard they've got it. Anyway, it's time to crack on and finish off the blood plague in Providence Ridge. What the fuck? I'm just grateful I still got a door. The next heart goes down without any issues. But while I'm waiting for the crowds to disperse so I can loot it, another triple pack has decided they want to ruin my day. But it seems on this occasion things are going to be significantly harder, as they're now attacking in formation. I managed to get my first of 3 headshots, then dodge the other 2. I then drop my final molly, which slows 2 of them down, and allows me to stun the 3rd with a gunshot, although I don't risk the execution. The other 2 are now back in the action, and if we get tackled here, it's likely nights out for Wick well before he can reach his peak. Desperate for space to get a couple of headshots, I drop a fuel bomb, which only slightly singes me in the process. But once the flames have subsided, I start spraying, which takes out the first Feral and removes the armor off the second. One more headshot finishes him off, and then I can just spray and pay the final blood Feral.
Holy shit.
Holy shit is correct. Talk about squeaky bum time. I literally had 1 bullet remaining in my AK. I'm lucky enough to get another first aid kit from the heart, then we can make our way to the penultimate one. Ignore the car being knackered, there's a spare toolkit in the back. I complete the first phase, then drop a fuel bomb, before heading back in to complete the second phase just as the feral rocks up. But to be honest, I'm just grateful there's not another triple pack. Although we do get a second to join the fun, but that's not until moments after we've taken down the first. But he's dealt with easy enough, and then soon after, so is the play card. Just one more left in Providence Ridge. So now all I've got to do is get to and eliminate the final play card, which is going to be significantly harder after a Juggernaut has decided to fuck up my pickup. Honestly, what a prick like. But to be honest, at this point there's very little he can do to prevent my victory. He's just been an irritating little twat and slowing me down. After taking him on one giant loop and cutting through the horse corral, I can repair my vehicle with a toolkit I had in the boot. Or trunk, if you're American. Then just like that, we can head to the Providence West Supply Center, where we can pretty simply take down the final plague card. Stop looking at my infection meter, I definitely didn't get plague once again. And with the blood plague defeated, it's time to crack on with finding Wick's brother, starting by paying a visit to the scattered survivors. And I didn't side with them on either of the times I've had the option to, so giving them plague samples is the least I can do. And just like that, we're now friends. And I can't wait to see what will blossom from our newfound friendship. Let's get some love for Johnny Boy in the comment section. It's only taken 2 maps, but I'm now completely out of 5.56 ammo and 7.62 rounds. But luckily I do have plenty of 45 caliber, so I equipped the Spec Ops SMG. Oh, hang on, I'm not having any of that shit. I'm a loud and proud kind of lad, so I swap out the suppressor for a professional break. I then get a message from Leffer of the Tenants over the radio, so make my way over there to see what she wants. She's like, you know those guys I've been arguing with this entire time? Well, it's been a while since I've heard of them, maybe we should go check on them. So imagine my surprise when I turn up, and John and his friends have joined the army of the undead. God damn it, if only I knew someone with a motive. Someone who quite famously didn't get along with him. Anyway, with them clearly not having any use for it, I loot all of their shit. I find a plethora of useful stuff like smoke bombs and flares. But I also find something weird, a note labelled Rally Point. And I recognise that handwriting, it's the same as the flyer that was calling me a tyrant in Mika Valley. Those guys knew something about Wick's brother but refused to tell him about it. I've got to follow this lead, so make my way to the coordinates I found on the note. Although something seems off. Why the hell would they be meeting at a service station toilet? I can't imagine they're looking to collect STDs. It turns out it was a trap to get us far away from Stuart's base so they could sweep in and attack. So we speed back as fast as we can, and luckily Wick has faced these guys in the past. So he rolls into action and obliterates the bastards faster than you can say surrender now, you bellends. But unfortunately we weren't able to get any information out of them, mainly due to Wick's itchy trigger finger. So while I think over my next move, I decide help out a stranded survivor who's had all of her friends killed by the grocery traders. And a long time ago, Wick worked as a specialist for this kind of thing, so agrees to help her get her revenge. Although before we can get her revenge, we get a radio message from our villains. They're currently in Drucker County where the blood plague has got out of control. And as we've cleared Providence, they plan on taking it from us. They claim they have an army of dozens and they'll be sending a special team to eliminate us all so they can move in safely.
Don't threaten violence when your name's fucking Norbert. You must have got bullied when you were a child. I'm sorry.
In order to stop these bastards from ruining all our hard work, we need to unite the enclaves and prepare for battle. So for now, Darla's revenge mission is taking a back seat. Quite literally. I chat to Leffer of the Tenants and she has my back. And so too does Arnie of the local rangers. However, he also mentioned that there were some new guys in town and I should check in with them. I'm pretty sure they'll be well up for a fight. Their leader's name is Psycho. And it's true, they absolutely were up for a fight. Unfortunately, that fight was directed at me.
It's time for you to die!
They were the scouting party sent by the baddies. And as a general piece of advice, it's probably going to take a lot more than 3 scrawny knobheads to take out the bloke that's just eliminated the blood plague in 2 different towns. But hey, nice try. Thank you for playing. I'm almost certain they'll be back with more numbers and I'll need to be ready. Not only will this town fall and good people will lose their lives, but they know something about my missing brother and I'll do anything to find him. But for now, it's time to blow off some steam and enact Darla's vengeance. Although, to be fair, Darla doesn't really do a lot. I'm the first inside and double tap a stranger to the face, and the second guy is corner camping upstairs. Well, corner camp against this, you little prick. Good night and God bless. I then asked Darla if she'll stay and fight in the up and coming war, but she's like, absolutely not, I'll see you later, big boy. Fuck's sake, that shit was cold. And speaking of war, the baddies are back and ready for battle. They've hunkered down on the edge of Sawyer's Crossing and are planning their first assault. It's time to put an end to their tirade once and for all. But before I go to war, the local rangers have asked me to pop in as they've had a whip around and got me something to help the fight. I guess that means you're not fighting alongside me then. Okay. And you wouldn't believe what they've given me to fight a full-blown war. 6 pissing firecrackers.
Are you fucking kidding me, Susie? Are you fucking kidding me, Susie? Of all the things you got on you, you've got frag grenades, you've got remote box mines, you've got regular box mines, you've got fuel, and you decide to give me firecrackers. Honestly, I've never been more insulted in my life.
Although that does give me an idea. So I head to my supply locker and collect the 2 jars of zombie I own. And with that is on to our last stand against tyranny. I will kill every single one of these bastards until I find my brother. I start by trying to weaponize the undead, by tossing the zombie through the open door. Although the results were pathetic at best. Luckily I have a backup plan. 50 cal to the face. I also down a second that's loitering around the rear, then another that's retreating away from me. There's a woman shooting at me from the stairs, but once again a single shot downs her. But rather surprisingly she's not dead, so I pull off the greatest overkill that's ever been posted to the internet. I make my way onto the rooftop, and Norbert and his remaining allies are on the next level above. So I toss a molly to keep them busy and climb the ladder. They immediately go for the cheap shot, but luck must be on my side as they missed, and I blast one of their friends point blank with a 50 cal. 2 more left as I take cover behind some boxes and return fire, leaving only Norbert remaining. Just the 2 of us left to battle it out on the rooftop like we're in an early 2000s superhero movie. But truthfully, I know Norbert isn't the head of this operation. He was simply too easily dealt with. No, if I want to finish this properly, I must head to Drucker County next. They said there was dozens of them and we've barely taken out 10. If we can take Drucker County back from the blood plague and kill all the hostiles, maybe, just maybe, we can find Wick's brother and finally settle down. Thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and tune in next week when we head to Drucker County. In fact, I'll be streaming it this Sunday if you want to check out the live. Hopefully see you there.